vitamins, and minerals. And it's odor-free. I'm taking charge with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
Rocket 102.5.
With your updated forecast, I'm staff meteorologist Paul Trombley from the Weatherology Weather Center. Ample sunshine expected today with daytime highs approaching 94. Winds out of the south 10 to 15 miles per hour. Lows level off around 61 tonight, mainly clear skies. Lots of sunshine tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 95. Mainly sunny and dry Wednesday and Thursday, low 90s. Wednesday, upper 80s by Thursday. Taking a look at the extended forecast, 90 Friday, 86 Saturday, and 86 on Sunday. Another look at the short range, high of 94 today. Lows level off around 61 tonight. We should top off around 95 tomorrow. Get up to the minute weather updates from the Weatherology Weather Center. I'm staff meteorologist Paul Trombley on this NWKS radio station. Currently 58.
Meet Cheryl.
Hey.
She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's got to be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
Lowe's knows it's easier to make the right calls when you have the right team. That's why our Lowe's Red Vest associates can help with game time decisions. Plus, use in-store mode on the Lowe's app to find what you need. Under pressure at home and want it soon? Order online by 2 p.m. to get it same day. Same day valid on eligible in-stock items and select zip codes only, subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. Exclusions and more terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Listen up, you World War II, Korean War, and Vietnam War veterans. This is your DI from Kansas Honor Flight. I want you to get up off your duff and get your veteran application submitted to us for a fabulous, free 3-day trip to Washington, D.C. to visit your memorials. You're not getting any younger. You did not have to be in country. You were serving our great nation. Go to kansashonorflight.org or call 620-546-2400.
Are you in search of a new pickup? Well, why not trust the team at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas, as they currently have great deals on all kinds of trucks. Get yourself into a 2024 GMC Sierra 1500 pickup with 5.9% APR plus $3,250 purchase allowance when you trade in an eligible vehicle. Or get a 2024 GMC Sierra 2500 pickup with 5.9% for 84 months. As always, go to hurlchev.com to schedule any service or check out what's on the lot, or just stop on by in South Goodland.
Colby Furniture's biggest summer sale is on now. Save up to $700 on select Tempur-Pedic adjustable mattress set and up to $600 on Stearns & Foster mattresses. Save big on all Flex Steel, Ashley, Best Home Furnishings, and Simply Amish furniture. Whether you take it off the floor or special order, all bedroom, dining, recliners, sectionals, sofas, and love seats are on sale now through September 10th at Colby Furniture and Home Store.
Even though your attention has turned back to school with events and activities, you just can't forget everything going on at home. That's where your local Hoover Lumber Ace hardware stores in Goodland and Colby come in. Keep the lawn in check with mowers, blowers, and trimmers from Craftsman, Toro, and Ego. They are still your local Benjamin Moore paint retailer, and they still have that amazing selection of outdoor grills and griddles from Traeger, Weber, and Blackstone. Plus, their helpful and knowledgeable staffs are some of the best in the Northwest. It's all at Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby. Open every day but Sunday.
Your livelihood is important to you. You work hard to succeed in your farming operation, crop, livestock, home, vehicles, and special needs. We have you covered. Discounts are available for new business, remodeling, hail-resistive roofing, multi-policy, and many more. Optional coverage endorsements as well for machinery, ingestion, and equipment breakdown. Umbrella coverage for additional coverage on your home, farm, and auto. See the girls at the Insurance Agency at 1020 Main in Goodland or call 785-899-5011.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
Get ready for the most electrifying football action of the season right here on Rocket 1025. Cheer on your Denver Broncos with every thrilling play, every game-winning drive, and every heart-pounding moment. Don't miss a second of action. Tune in all season long to Rocket 1025. Broncos football powered by FMB Bank, Pearl Chevrolet GMC, Colby Ag Center, Tubbs & Sons Ford Sales, Hoxie Feed Yard Imperial Beef, Next Tech Wireless, Burlington Ford, Zimmelman's Jewelry, and
thrown around to quarterbacks who haven't done diddly squat is amazing to me.
The region's only local sports talk.
Listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about.
Broadcasting on Goodland's Rocket 1025, simulcasting on Goodland's 730 Gold KLOE.
Guys everywhere.
Discussing it all from the preps.
It's been a long, long time. But the Goodland Cowboys are going to play for a state title.
To the pros.
How about a walk-off grand slam? Touch of all time, Ryan McMahon.
The Blitz is presented by Pearl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank, as well as the Insurance Agency, Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work.
Middle now flips it out. There is Chayton Goodwin open, and he's got no one in front of him. It's another Cowboy touchdown.
There's the snap, wanting to throw the quarterback under some pressure. He is going to loses the football. K-State picks it up, and here they go. Fabris, 30. He's at the 20. 10-5 touchdown. Jack Fabris.
Three-step drop. Looking, scrambles to the right, still looking downfield. Throws on the run. He's got LJ, and they've got a touchdown. Touchdown, Kansas.
Step throw, passes, intercepted. Touchdown, Nebraska. Pick six, Tommy Hill. Pick six, Big Red.
Nix takes a shotgun snap, looks left. Now flush, rolls to his right. Nix at the 10, pumps once to the 5, pumps again. Pirouettes and rolls into the end zone. Touchdown, Denver.
Hey, good happy Monday morning, everybody. Glad you could join us here on the Morning Blitz, broadcasting on Goodland's Rocket 1025, AM 730 Gold, KLOE, NWKSradio.net. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. We don't care which way you're joining. We just appreciate you doing so here on Monday, September the 9th, 62 degrees and sunny out to begin this week here, and going to be a toasty one today, as a matter of fact. Temps going to be in the mid-90s throughout the tri-state region, so a warm one on tap today. And really for this week, it's going to be one warm week, mid to low 90s for the first 3 days of the week, and then actually first 4 days of the week, I beg your pardon, and then temperatures getting down into the 80s for the next couple days after that. So some warm temps and plenty of sunshine ahead as we get going with our second full week of September here in the year of 2024. But thanks again for tuning on in. We got a full show ahead today. We will be visiting with Nick Athens, our good friend from Chiefs Blitz, talking to him about the Chiefs' season opening win on Thursday and some takeaways from that and what to expect coming up here in week 2 for Kansas City. We will get to plenty of other local sports, college football as well. We'll look back and see how I did with the picks of the weekend. So plenty of things to get to, as always, on a Monday morning. And we always love to get it going, of course, with our weekend winners and losers.
There are two kinds of people in this world.
There's winners and there's losers.
Which ones were which this past weekend?
I want winners.
Loser! You're a loser!
It's the weekend's winners and losers on the Morning Blitz.
Want to be a winner, be a winner.
Lots of winners this weekend as we get back into the full swing of sports here in the fall sports season. Want to start locally, though, with Something I don't know, have this for a fact. I'm just kind of basing it off of my knowledge on the situation, which I admit is not as vast as some. But the Goodland Cowgirl tennis team deserves to be a winner of the weekend. The Cowgirl tennis team taking first at the Colby Tennis Invitational on Saturday. If my memory serves me correctly, and once again, I could be wrong, the text line, of course, always open. FNB Bank text line 785-899-2222. But I think that was the first Cowgirl tennis victory, like a team tennis tournament championship, I think, as a team, maybe. I would say maybe since the program's been brought back. That's going to be my guess. Now, once again, I certainly could be wrong on that, but I don't recall them winning a tournament as a team, maybe having individual do well at some point in time, but to win it as a team, that I think was the very first time since the program's been brought back. And so the Cowgirls win that Colby Invitational, highlighted by the doubles, the tandem of Phoebe Noctegal and Maddie Murray, who go out and get first in the doubles. They had really good showings in the singles as well, with multiple finishing and runners-up. So it was a really good tournament for Goodland Cowgirl Tennis, and they are the first winners of the weekend. Sticking in local sports, that was not high school football. Goodland Volleyball had a nice win over Ray on Friday night, sweeping the Eagles to get their first win of the 2024 season. Oakley with a very good weekend at their own volleyball tournament this weekend. They picked up 4 wins, sweeping those 4 teams in pool play, and then they took on Greeley County and defeated them 2-1 to win their own home tournament. So very good weekend for Oakley volleyball. In fact, I don't know if Oakley, if my memory serves me correctly, and I say that a lot on this show because there's a lot of things that goes on up there. I think Oakley's dropped a match yet this season. If they have dropped one, it's maybe one. But I would say I don't think Oakley volleyball's dropped a match this year. There were some slim years just the last couple of years for Oakley volleyball, but they have put it together here early on in this season with some nice wins for the Lady Plainsmen. And continuing volleyball, Colby Community College volleyball continued their amazing work here early on in the season. The 7th-ranked Trojans probably going to be moving up in the polls, one would think. They swept Butler on Saturday down in El Dorado, which, by the way, Butler was receiving votes in the top 25 rankings, and they took care of them 1-2-3. It was over. CCC 7-1 overall, and now 2-0 to begin Jayhawk Conference play. So a great weekend for area volleyball teams as well as the Goodland Cowgirl tennis team winning that tournament in Colby on Saturday. Other winners of the weekend, how about Weskin football? We talked about it, for the last couple of weeks. We had Brett Clow on, head coach for the Coyotes, talking about how cool of a deal it was going to be this past Friday to have lights at the football stadium and playing their first ever home night game there in Weskin, thanks to the community and the support to get that done with new bleachers and lights. And Weskin took advantage of it. They routed Kit Carson, Colorado, which, visiting with, Brett Clow said it could be a stiff test because, Colorado plays a little bit different style of football than we do here in Kansas. But what did not matter. 53-8, the final score to get their first win under the lights ever in Weskin. And so they are no doubt the Coyotes a winner of the weekend as they get to 1-0 here this morning. Also, some other football results from this past Friday night. For those who are curious how other area teams came down and ended up happening, some other results. Colby getting an easy win down at Ulysses, 39-6. The big story was Ulysses did not had a good number of their varsity players suspended for this game because of an incident that happened off the football field. So Colby had a really good, and this is not taking anything away from the Eagles, but they had a really good tune-up game. They got a game against an opponent that was not at full strength, and they took advantage of it with a nice win, 39-6. So, and also this weekend, Oakley lost large at Norton, 55-8. Oakley's offense held to just 162 yards and had 3 turnovers. Rollins County, they fell at Dighton, 34-28. Ryan Schrammick had a great performance, one of the best players in their region. Ran for 205 yards and 2 touchdowns. They had 306 rushing yards as a team, did Rollins County, but still came up short 34-28. And what was probably the most entertaining game, one of the two most entertaining games, I should say. The other one was Hoxie. They were able to get a hard-fought win over Osborne, 20-14. The Indians were outgained by 254 to 162. So Osborne had 254 yards. Hoxie had 162. But the difference was Hoxie had 4 takeaways, an interception, and 3 fumble recoveries. That's going to help a lot. So it was a low-scoring game, a hard-fought game. You don't usually see a lot of 20-14s in 8-man football, but it was a low-scoring game, and Hoxie prevailed in the end to get a Week 1 victory. And visiting with Coach Barr, a few weeks ago, they said this first game will be a real stiff test for us and see what we're made of. And I think my guess is he has to like some things and dislike some things. They had some turnover issues. They really couldn't get anything going offensively. 162 yards is not very much in high school football, at any level of football. But it is early in the season. I mean, we're seeing NFL teams out there struggle to get 100-plus yards passing or whatever it might be. We just saw that yesterday in Week 1 of the NFL. It's early. You're going to work out those kinks and be much, much better in Week 2. But to be able to survive, if that's the word you want to use, or to pull out a victory, thanks to your defense and 4 takeaways, that's a good thing there for Hoxie. St. Francis had an easy win over Quinter, 49-0. I don't know the last time the Indians started the season off unbeaten, but it's been a while. And that's a really good tip of the cap there to friend of the program, Grant Wiggers, and the head coach there and their staff. Decatur Community won easily over Greeley County, 50-0. Wallace County with an easy win, taking down Deerfield, 52-6. By the way, the Wildcats held Deerfield to 159 total yards in that ball game. 6-man result, Cheyenne, a high-scoring 74-26 win over Wheatland Grinnell. Tri-Plains Brewster shut out by Ingalls. Ingalls had 285 yards in that game, all on the ground. They did not have any passing yards. It was all rushing for Ingalls. Golden Plains blasted Moscow 62-16. Josh, I can't even say his name. Josh Rath had probably the best individual performance next to Ryan Schromick on the weekend. 233 total yards, 143 passing, 90 rushing, 4 total touchdowns. His teammates Dylan Wark and Miguel Garcia each had 2 touchdowns apiece for Golden Plains, who picked up a dominant win over Moscow. And of course, we mentioned Weskin with their 53-8 win over Kit Carson, Colorado. And the Goodland Cowboys, they lost at Ray 56-21 in a ball game which the Cowboys were leading with about 6 minutes left to go in the second quarter. They were up 21-14. Goodland took advantage. To their credit, Goodland took advantage of 2 big miscues for Ray. A muffed punt return. Casey Midcap let the ball go hit off of him. Cowboys recovered it, punched in a few plays later for one of their scores. And then Goodland took advantage of a muffed snap, a high snap over the punter's head, which was recovered by Barrett Schlosser, and the Cowboys would punch it in a little bit later. Goodland only had really one drive where they took the ball, whether after a kickoff or after a punt, drove it down the field and scored when Zach Thorson able to find Chayton Goodwin on a flare out of the backfield. But the hard part for Goodland was you were up 21-14. And from that point forward, with those 6 minutes left, it was all Ray. All Ray. The Cowboys, I don't even know, had a first down they didn't have a first down in the second half. Ray did what they love to do, which is run the football, control the clock, control the momentum of the game. They did that. Goodland could not get off the field defensively. And that was kind of the story of the second half after a pretty interesting first half. But even though Ray really handed the first half to Goodland on a silver platter, but to the Cowboys' credit, took advantage of that and was able to get points and take the lead. Lincoln Cure had a couple of rushing touchdowns, not receiving, but rushing touchdowns. It was good to see him, get on the field in some different ways and use him in some different ways to help this Cowboy offense, at times which looked good and at other times looked very stagnant. But the biggest thing was defensively, just could not get off the field, was missing a lot of tackles, a lot of things that need to get cleaned up between week 1 and week 2. And hopefully that will do so, because I think they have a game coming up that they'll have another very evenly matched opponent in Burlington coming to town here on Friday. So anyway, just a few thoughts of high school football from this past weekend. So continuing on weekend winners and losers, how about the Royals, a winner of the weekend? Sweep the Twins and take a 2.5 game lead over them in the wild card. Great performance yesterday. Michael Wacha was really good. Picked up the win, his 100th career win for Michael Wacha. Had some good, had a couple of big-time hits as well for the Royals in that 2-0 win. But they take a 2.5 game lead over the Twins, which was big. And we talked about how they had really done well to get to catch the Cleveland Guardians, and then they fell off for a while. They have now regained it as they take that whole entire series from the Twins and now have a 2.5 game lead in the wild card race. Rockies a pretty good weekend as well, by the way, taking 2 out of 3 from the Brewers in Milwaukee. Rockies have the day off today. Royals are back on the road. They are in New York taking on the Bronx Bombers. A stiff test there, but a very interesting series at the same time. And final winner of the weekend, Nebraska football. Beats Colorado soundly, 28-10. That was all 28 points scored in that first half. Colorado actually outscored Nebraska 10-0 in the second half. The second half was bombarded by penalties and self-inflicted wounds for Nebraska and for Colorado at times, but just more for Nebraska, which prevented them from adding on more points. But Nebraska's defense was dominant, sacked Shedeur Sanders 6 times. If you're counting that at home, that I believe is 14 sacks of Shedeur Sanders by Nebraska's defense in the last 2 years. But Nebraska gets the win at home in what was an electric atmosphere. And because of it now, I don't know if I totally agree with it, is ranked in the top 25 for the first time since 2019. So 2-0 and ranked for the first time since 2019 is Nebraska football. Don't know if I totally think that they're deserving of that yet, but it is unique to see. It's been a while. It has been a while. Some other quick losers as well. Some other results from football. How about K-State coming back to win, needing a scoop and score from Jack Fabris, 60-yard scoop and score after the fumble by the quarterback Mensah for Tulane, all the way back to the house for 6. Needed that. Tulane gave K-State everything they wanted and a little more, but the Wildcats did prevail on the road. A nice win. And because of that, they jumped up 4 spots, moved up to 14 in the rankings. Like I said, it wasn't a dominant performance from Avery Johnson. Wasn't dominant. They continued to ride the backs of DJ Giddens, which I think is smart. He had over 114 yards rushing. But Johnson threw a couple touchdown passes we asked to, and the K-State defense, which our good friend of the show, Wyatt Thompson, said, I think it's going to be the strength of this team. Came up big when it mattered most. They definitely gave Tulane a lot of yards and a good amount of points, but they came up big when it mattered most with that scoop and score. That's for sure. Let's see. And then we got to move on to losers here real quickly. Losers of the weekend here on the Morning Blitz. KU football, probably a loser of the weekend, but they're more encapsulated in a group of teams in the top 25 that had bad second weeks. But KU football is one of these teams. They lose to Illinois on the road. I don't know if it was a massive surprise. I mean, people did have Kansas winning by about 4.5 to 6.5 points, depending on where you looked at. But the Jayhawks end up losing 23-17 Saturday. You know, it was a very Jekyll and Hyde performance from Jalen Daniels, had 2 touchdown passes, but also 3 interceptions, including throwing one for a pick 6. Xavier Scott with a pick 6 going the other way for Illinois. And that proved to be just too costly to overcome. I mean, Devin Neal ran for 101 yards, but Jalen Daniels showing maybe a little bit of rust at this point in time. So, once again, tough day for KU football as they dropped to 1-1 and out of the top 25. And there's a lot of teams that dropped, this weekend. Notre Dame is another big loser of the weekend. Fighting Irish falling at home to Northern Illinois, 14-13. That was not good. Not good for Notre Dame. You had a huge win over Texas A&M. Everyone's talking about how, the path is set for you to make the college football playoff. You're all good to go. And you just got to continue to win. And then you drop this type of game. And now the conversation is, if you're a Fighting Irish fan, how are you going to make the playoff? You don't have a ton of games ahead that are going to help you, and you don't have a conference championship to win that would help you. So that's the hard part about Notre Dame and being an independent, is that they don't have that conference championship, and you lose a game that you probably shouldn't have lost. That's tough. By the way, before we get to a break and bring on Nick Athan, I got to play. I always love playing radio calls that I think are crazy. This was the NIU, the Northern Illinois radio call, as they beat Notre Dame here this past Saturday.
5 seconds left. NIU up 16-14. 62-yarder. Snap, hold, Jeter's kick. It's blocked! It's blocked! It's blocked! Picked up by NIU! Picked up by NIU! The Huskies have done it! The Huskies with the biggest upset in NIU history! They come to South Bend, Indiana, and they knock off the number 5 team in the country.
Give a lot of credit. Thomas Hammock's done a great job there at NIU, and that was a humongous win for them. And Notre Dame has been has been doing this in the past. Remember, they lost to Marshall. I think it might have been last year they lost to Marshall. They've lost these type of games before, these kind of bye games for Notre Dame, and it really does sting for sure. All right, there you go. Our weekend winners and losers here on the Morning Blitz. Let's get to a break. We're right near the bottom of the hour. When we come back, Nick Athan waiting patiently to join us from Chiefs Blitz. We'll talk about the Kansas City Chiefs opening week win over the Baltimore Ravens and what that means here as we get going in this early part of the NFL season. You're listening to the Morning Blitz here on a Monday.
As a customer-owned cooperative, Midwest Energy members elect their board of directors. Ballots for this year's director election are in the mail and must be completed and returned by October 4th. Election results will be announced at our annual meeting on Monday, October 21st, 10 a.m. at the Hilton Garden Inn in Hayes. We'll give away great door prizes, and all Midwest members are invited to attend. Midwest Energy, a customer-owned cooperative, making energy work for you.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning. This is Kate Thompson with the Anderson Trade Group. Today is Monday, September 9th. And on the overnight last night, December corn lower half cent at 4.05 3/4. March down a half cent at 4.24. May down a half, 4.35. And July corn down a quarter at 4.42. November soybeans up 8.5 on the overnight at 10.13 and a half. January up 8.5 at 10.31. March up 9 cents at 10.45 and a quarter. And May up 9 and a quarter at 10.59 and a quarter. Chicago wheat, the December contract higher a quarter cent at 5.67 and a half. March unchanged at 5.86 and a half. May down a quarter at 5.97 3/4, and July up a quarter at 6.03 and a quarter. Kansas City wheat, the December contract higher 3/4 cents at 5.78 and a quarter. March up 3/4 at 5.91 and a half. May up a cent at 5.99, and July hard wheat down a quarter at 6.01. On the stock market this morning, the Dow up 282 at 40,689. The S&P up 36 at 5,456. The Nasdaq up 146 at 18,605. Gold up $6.50 an ounce at 2,531, and crude oil up 59 cents a barrel at 68.26. If you have any questions about marketing grain or would like to talk about risk management options, give our Colorado office a call. John Hankey or John Stiles at 970-744-4484, or in our Kansas City office, myself, Tom Saludo, Jared Law, or Tyler Dosh at 913-748-3000.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor and or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
When challenging conditions arise, we don't back down. We up our game, outpacing the competition with fueled by Bayer's R&D, keeping you equipped with an expanded portfolio, elite genetics, and additional local test plots. Channel leads the field, so you can rise above. See how you can save at channel.com/finance24. Read and follow pesticide label directions, grain marketing, and other stewardship practices.
Out here, we raise stronger people, stronger crops,
and we proudly raise our flag to that. Let the weather, pests, and pressures try to beat us down. We only keep growing up. With the Next Gen genetics, the pure acre-for-acre know-how of these soils, and a deep pride of our root, we're born to raise at Hogemeyer. Learn more at therightseed.com.
At Viero, back-to-school savings are for everyone. Right now, get the Explora X6 Play Kids smartwatch as low as $10 per month with bundled discount. Then there's the Viero Student Unlimited plan that comes with a free smartphone. And for teachers and college students, we have big discounts on our top unlimited plans. Parents, we didn't forget about you. The latest smartphones from both Apple and Samsung on us with a qualifying trade-in. Shop your local Viero Wireless today. Taxes and fees required. Additional restrictions may apply.
Start your day with a blitz of sports news, analysis, and interviews.
Sounds like a pretty damn good deal to me.
This is the Morning Blitz with Ross Fulghorn.
Continuing on a Monday show here on the Morning Blitz. Thanks again for tuning in, no matter which way you are doing so. We'll get to the leftovers coming up a little bit later on. See what else we missed outside of weekend winners and losers. But we are pleased to welcome on to the show for the first time in a while. He's our good friend from Chiefs Blitz. That would be Nick Athen, who joins us now on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. Nick, good morning. How are we doing today? Good to see you.
I'm doing pretty good, Russ. I'm glitching a little bit. Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, we can hear you, and you look great. And I always wanted to say, I watch your stuff on the, your four guys in a bar talking. I always love your background. I'm very jealous. Your Chiefs memorabilia room is fantastic.
Yeah, well, it's a 62-year process. So a lot of stuff I've had a really, really long time. And this is about a third of my collection. The rest of it is all in storage and boxed up. And actually, I'm going to be putting a bunch of stuff up for sale. It's about time some other people had some of my stuff.
What is a couple of your most prized Chiefs possessions, out of curiosity?
Just out of curiosity, well, I mean the poster that's on my I don't know what shoulder that is in the viewing world, but the orange Kansas City Chiefs poster, that's actually a photo of Otis Taylor. That was from the 1969 Super Bowl Sports Illustrated promo poster. That's definitely one of my favorite pieces. I've got an Elton John signed Captain Fantastic album, which is my favorite album of all time. The Len Dawson jersey there.
Yep. See that? Very sharp.
That's an authentic Super Bowl jersey. I knew Lenny for 50 plus years of my life, and I've got the whole back row is just all different Dawson signed helmets and stuff like that. So. I got bobbleheads, I got footballs, I've got Patrick Mahomes football from Super Bowl 54. I've got the Lenny Dawson one from Super Bowl 4. So, I'm old school. I like the old stuff, but I also got a lot of hockey stuff and some unique one of a kind items. So I'm very fortunate.
No, it's very cool. Really, really enjoy it. Nick Athen is our guest from Chiefs Blitz. First and foremost, we'll start with just the Chiefs go all the way back to Thursday night, a 27-20 win. Over the Ravens. I'd tell you the thing that stood out to me the most, Nick, was that, boy, it sure looked like that Chiefs offense was back to kind of the form that we're used to seeing over the previous few years, minus last year.
Yeah, this was the emphasis all off season was to improve the speed, to upgrade the receiver position. Obviously, they drafted Worthy. They signed Hollywood Brown, who could make his debut this week against the Bengals. And then all of a sudden, defenses have one more thing to worry about. But, I think Patrick Mahomes did the team a solid as they worked through some cap issues and they worked on some other areas of the roster. Okay, I'll go get you back-to-back Super Bowls, but if we're going to do 3 in a row, I need some weapons. And that's exactly what Brett Veach and Andy Reid did. And the emphasis was, hey, we're pushing the ball down the field. We're not going to – we may not play completely like we did with Tyreek Hill, but we're going to give defenses problems. And you saw in the game, Worthy was electric, and he had three big plays, and he was a decoy on everything else, and it just opened up the middle of the field for Rice and Watson and Kelsey. And it's just I shudder to think what this offense is going to be like, when Hollywood Brown gets involved. And I've said this before. I think Patrick Mahomes has never had a 4-quarter complete football game in his career. And I can go through every game of his entire career to date. This is going to be the year where he has a 4-quarter game because there's just too many weapons.
No, it was amazing to watch and a lot of fun to watch. You know, one thing that was really impressive to me was the performance. I'm not going to even try to attempt the last name, but Kingsley, the left tackle. There you go. He was fantastic in his opener.
I was impressed. I mean, I think he had 78 or 79 snaps, and maybe about 5 or 6 of them were stuff that he can work on and improve. And I didn't expect this. I mean, the knock on him in college was you split him between the guard and the tackle, and you're going to get beat. And having Joe Thuney out there, who didn't have a particularly great game, certainly helped him quite a bit. But color me shocked because I thought he was good in training camp. I didn't think he was great, but in the run game, he's really solid. And, he's just got to learn a little bit more pass protection skills. But, Ross, they left him on an island for, I think, 90% of those snaps. And that's unheard of in Kansas City. You don't see a rookie left tackle, especially a guy in the second round who many felt was a first rounder, just kind of make that jump. And they put him out there from day one. Wanya Morris, the third round pick from a couple of years ago, just never materialized as a great pass blocker. And I was shocked, to put it mildly. I'm very happy because not only is he a good left tackle, he's a cheap left tackle. And that means the Chiefs can spend money elsewhere.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'd say another guy that really stood out, I thought, game one was Rashee Rice. I mean, I know he was good last year, but why do you think he looks so much better in just one game this year?
I think he's highly motivated to put the crap from the offseason behind him. I think that's a huge part of it. I think that, he was, he was kind of feeling himself a little bit in the offseason, hanging around the wrong guys. That incident happened. Patrick Mahomes slapped him around. Hollywood Brown, who had just signed a contract, worked with him from that point forward and said, okay, kid, enough's enough. They brought him back to Kansas City. They got him away from those people. And he dedicated himself. And even in the offseason, you could see the workouts he was doing privately. And you could see how motivated he was and dedicated he was. And he was in tremendous shape when he came to camp. And he was playing great football in camp. And I think what's important is the Chiefs supported him. They didn't give up on him. They gave him a chance. He will be suspended at some point in 2025. It's not going to be this year. I've been saying that all off season. There's no way in the Texas court system that this thing's going to see the light of day until probably spring of next year. And he'll probably get a 4-game suspension, which I think is fair. But he is just motivated. He's hungry. He sees the opportunity. And what was impressive about the performance on Thursday night was the guy that he replaced, Juju Smith-Schuster, is now a member of the Chiefs. And I think that helps him a lot. It helps him knowing, hey, this is the guy that I'm modeling my game at. This is the kind of position on the field I have to play. This is what I have to do in open space. I have to do it like Juju did. And I think that's going to make his game better. And when Hollywood Brown comes back, I mean, Rashee Rice could just go off because the routes that he was running and the patience Mahomes allowed him to develop to get into the open space was something we didn't see enough of last year. But to come out day one and do it, that's mighty impressive. And again, the kid wants to put the pass behind him.
Nick Athen is our guest from ChiefsBlitz.com. He is joining us via the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream, talking the Chiefs' 27-20 win over the Baltimore Ravens in week number 1. I think we knew Xavier Worthy was going to make an impact on this team. I didn't expect it to be that big in week 1. Did you?
Well, we've been touting him quite a bit, especially on the 4 Guys in a Bar podcast at Chiefs Blitz. And we said, my partner, Hens Todd, said, hey, he's going to score a touchdown on his first play. Of course, he scores a touchdown on his first play. He's just, what I think people underestimate about him was, he had a kind of tough offseason. He was hurt. He had a hamstring issue through OTAs and mini camps. But he was there at practice. He was asking questions. He was working with a receivers coach. He was, getting on Matt Nagy, the offensive coordinator. Well, what does this mean? What am I supposed to be? Where am I supposed to go? He was very engaged. And I know the knock on him is his size, But when you've got that kind of speed, yeah, you're going to get punched around a little bit and you're going to get hit. And he got hit pretty good in this game on one snap, but he came up and, he just proved that speed kills in the National Football League, and he has an abundance of it. And if you watch the end around, to me, Ross, it didn't even look like he was running fast. You haven't seen that. And then the touchdown pass was like, hey, I'm wide open. I'm going to do a little spin move here just to slow down enough to maybe the defender could get within 10 yards of me. He's not cocky, and he's not a guy that, does well with praising. He's just very focused. And I attribute that to his mom. If you've seen her tweets, the videos she put up before his first preseason game was heartwarming. And he's a good kid. And the Chiefs, thank you, Buffalo Bills, again, for another great draft pick. They did a terrific job of kind of easing him into it. And they didn't overwork him, in game one. But I love the fact how they used him in the decoy. They just said, go to the end zone and pull the safety in a corner with you so we can throw the ball elsewhere. That's not a lot of young guys could do that. Could you think of Marvin Harrison Jr. doing that? No, I'm going to be the guy. And Worthy just wants to be part of the team. And that was impressive to me.
Marvin Harris Jr., by the way, just one reception for I think 5 yards yesterday. So
he couldn't get open to save his life.
He wasn't much of the guy yesterday for the Cardinals. Nick Athen, our guest from Chiefs Blitz on the Hurdle Chevrolet GMC video stream. Defensively was the area I kind of had going into the season, maybe with a few more question marks when you lose, Willie Gay and Snead and those guys. They looked like they hadn't really missed a step. And my guess is you'll tell us that's because, they were really young last year and they're just a little bit older in all spots this year. But that defense really looked good despite, I thought, missing and losing some very key pieces in the offseason to other teams.
Yeah, I thought I didn't think they missed Snead as much as I thought they would, but I think they missed Willie Gay a little bit just to have that speed at linebacker. I mean, Leo Chanel played the game of his life, and he was the spy guy on Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson got him probably 65% of the time, but the 35% that he played, got to Jackson, he made plays. And I think, the defense, I think the linebackers struggled enough to where there's a little bit of concern. Nick Bolton, was really terrible in pass coverage, but, when you got to hold the line for 6, 7, 8, 9 seconds against Lamar Jackson, nobody's going to be able to cover. So I'm going to give him kind of a free pass. But I thought Chris Jones was a beast. If it wasn't Lamar Jackson back there, he would have set an NFL record for sacks in a game. He was just tormenting the Baltimore Ravens front line, and that front line is terrible. There's no chance that Lamar Jackson's going to be able to take that beating because his offensive line is so bad. But I think defensively, the corners did good. I like the rotation of the defensive line. The linebackers did their very best. And this was a tough opponent for Kansas City. The Ravens were in the AFC, if you just look at it in week one, by far the toughest opponent that anybody in the division had to play. And they knew that Lamar Jackson was not going to be the Lamar Jackson from the AFC Championship game. And he played a terrific game, and he's a terrific athlete, and he's a great running back playing quarterback. And in the end, when he had to make plays, 1st and 10, goal to go, a chance to tie, maybe get a 2-point conversion. He just doesn't make the throws. And then the last throw, it was a good throw, but at the end of the day, you got to win the game. And he had plenty of chances to win this football game, and he just couldn't get them done.
The thought I had when that game was all done, after they reversed the call and it was over, my thought was, the NFL can't mess up. Everything they touch is gold. They couldn't have asked for a better opener. No. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, 28.5 million people watched that broadcast. That's the number one. That's the tops of all opening days in the history of the NFL, and it's all because Patrick Mahomes, Taylor Swift, the Ravens. I mean, it was a perfect matchup, and I can tell you, the Chiefs did not want this as their opening game.
No,
they did not want this. They wanted the Bucks, maybe the Saints. Well, maybe not the Saints because the Saints played really well yesterday. Of course, the Panthers are just horrible. But, I don't think this is the game that they wanted. But, they embraced it. They knew it was going to be difficult. And thankfully, they made a plays. When the Ravens make a play, the Chiefs came back on the next drive and scored a touchdown. or got, a field goal or something. So they were able to just kind of keep putting the pressure on. I never felt, Ross, that the Chiefs were going to lose this game, even on that final drive, even as they were marching down the field. I just didn't have that feeling. And, the last pass, I just was like, nah, he's not in bounds. There's no way they're going to reverse this. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. And this is what happens to teams that have the Chiefs in their head. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens this weekend with the Bengals, who looked terrible yesterday. Talk about a team that's in your that's in your head. Sunday could be very ugly for the Bengals in Kansas City.
What were your thoughts just overall on week one? I thought one thing that stood out to me week one entirety of the NFL was, boy, there were some really bad offensive performances. There were, like you mentioned, the Bengals. Of course, we know the Panthers, but there were some other ones that were just bad. And I know part of it has to do with the fact that guys aren't going through the preseason, not playing. It's their first game, but boy, that's not what the NFL wants to see. There were some really bad offensive games.
Yeah, Sunday football, other than the Sunday night game, was just bad.
It was not good.
No, it was just like I'm sitting there watching it in my 4 screen, and I'm thinking, I'm so looking forward to competitive football. And I just watched this. I watched a lot of it, and it's like, and the coaching was bad. And you could tell guys didn't play in the preseason. And I think a lot of NFL teams have to kind of rethink that, to get some experience in there. Take a few hits. I know they want to avoid injury, but, you can't waste week one. And, a lot of teams wasted week one. I mean, the Panthers were woeful. I mean, give the Saints credit. I mean, they just whooped on them. Kyler Murray should have beaten the Buffalo Bills, and he couldn't do anything in the second half. And, you look at Daniels, the quarterback in Washington. I expected him to have a really good game against Tampa Bay, and, that didn't happen. So there was just, and you look in the AFC West, Bo Nix is laughable. There's no way this guy is going to be, a legitimate starter this year. They're going to have a lot of growing pains. The Raiders don't have a quarterback. The Chargers looked decent. Now we know what kind of football team they're going to be. But, I think these NFL head coaches of Cleveland, Deshaun Watson is just abominable. He's one of the worst quarterbacks in the National Football League. And, they rided so much on him, and you could just kind of go on and on and on and on. And I think the NFL has to really kind of evaluate how they do this preseason stuff. I think coaches do. Andy Reid gets it. He does it the right way. He lets his guys play, in week one for a little bit, and then week two, a little bit more. And, week three, generally he rests them. But a lot of guys that they were counting on got experience in all 3 games. Like Kingsley, he played a lot in all 3 games, and look, it paid off. And that's important. And when Worthy had a good second game, he didn't do much in the first game. And these are things that you kind of build upon. And to answer your question in a long-winded way, like I do, it just wasn't a lot of good football yesterday.
No, it was not. It was not a pretty game. You would think, though, tonight, in about 60 seconds or so, tonight we should see something better. We would hope, right? At least if Aaron Rodgers can at least have more than one play.
Well, we're going to learn a lot about Aaron Rodgers tonight, because everybody's touting him. And Peter Schrager, who I love with Good Morning Football, picked him as the number 1 seed. I'm not a Rodgers guy. So, and the San Francisco 49ers, this is probably the most critical game that they've had in years to prove that they're still relevant, because they have been an offseason mess. They have spent a ton of money. They are all in for 2024, because in 2025, they're going to be in cap. They're going to be in the kind of cap hell that no team should be in. So, we'll see what happens, but I'm anticipating this to be a good game, but it's a big game for both teams.
Yeah, it's a big game for Kansas City, because if the Jets come out and look competent, you're like, oh, we have a team that might actually be able to.
They might be the only team in the AFC that can catch. Now, Houston looked great yesterday.
They did.
The Texans are a really good football team. That team scares the hell out of me.
No, that's one of the few bright spots of week one. That is for sure. Nick Athena, Chiefs Blitz on the Hurdle Chevrolet GMC video stream. Nick, thank you so much for spending some time with us today. We really appreciate it, and we'll catch up soon. All right.
All right, Ross. Appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
Once again, that's a great stuff there from Nick Athen here on the Morning Blitz. That was great stuff there from Nick, as it always is. Always enjoy visiting with him and getting his insight, and got to see his cool room with all of his Chiefs memorabilia, which is pretty sweet as well. All right, let's get to break. When we come back, we will hit the leftovers and finish up the show here next here on a Monday edition of the Morning Blitz.
The Chevy Summer Drive event is going on right now at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Right now, you can get a Chevy Silverado 1500 pickup with up to $5,750 of total rebates when you trade in an eligible vehicle, or get 1.9% financing on select 2023 and 24 model Chevrolets, plus no payments for 90 days. As always, go to hurlchev.com to schedule any service or check out what's on the lot, or just stop on by in South Goodland.
Even though your attention has turned back to school with events and activities, you just can't forget everything going on at home. That's where your local Hoover Lumber Ace hardware stores in Goodland and Colby come in. Keep the lawn in check with mowers, blowers, and trimmers from Craftsman, Toro, and Ego. They are still your local Benjamin Moore paint retailer, and they still have that amazing selection of outdoor grills and griddles from Traeger, Weber, and Blackstone. Plus, their helpful and knowledgeable staffs are some of the best in the Northwest. It's all at Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby. Open every day but Sunday.
Fraudsters are out to get your hard-earned money, but you can protect yourself by following 3 simple steps. 1, don't give your account number, card information, or online banking login credentials to anyone. 2, be cautious in responding to unexpected pop-up windows or text messages. And 3, watch your accounts. If you suspect that your bank information has been compromised, call your FNB Bank immediately. We are here to help you protect your hard-earned money. FNB Bank, member FDIC.
The Farmers State Bank of Oakley has been financing agriculture since the day we opened our doors. Hello, this is Corbin, and we are proud to be your locally owned partner in ag. We invite you to come and visit with us when you need to purchase new or used farm equipment, or need any type of agriculture or business loan. We have the knowledge, experience, and financial resources to keep you growing. The Farmers State Bank of Oakley, a tradition of community and agriculture for over 115 years. Member FDIC.
Your livelihood is important to you. You work hard to succeed in your farming operation, crop, livestock, home, vehicles, and special needs. We have you covered. Discounts are available for new business, remodeling, hail-resistive roofing, multi-policy, and many more. Optional coverage endorsements as well for machinery ingestion and equipment breakdown. Umbrella coverage for additional coverage on your home, farm, and auto. See the girls at the insurance agency at 1020 Main in Goodland, or call 785-899-5011.
You're tuned in to the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
That broadcast school has really paid off.
Once again, if you missed any of the conversation with Nick Athen of Chiefs Blitz, great stuff there, talking about Kansas City and their win over the Ravens and looking ahead, and also a little talk on week 1 as well, the NFL season. Make sure you hit us up wherever you get your podcast. Just search for The Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer. All right, let's get to the leftovers real quickly off the FNB Bank text line. I had a text come in here. It was earlier in the show, but I had not gotten to it yet. But Goodland girls tennis talked about them being winner of the weekend, winning the Colby Invitational. I said I thought that might have been their first tournament win since the program had returned. I was wrong, as I usually am. It's their second. They won the Goodland Invitational last season underneath Coach Holleran. So that was their first one last year. Which, by the way, they host that Goodland Invitational again this weekend. So if you want to go catch the Cowgirl tennis team, you can do that here on Saturday. Okay, moving on into the leftovers here on the Morning Blitz. What did we miss from this previous weekend? Let's start with the Broncos. First and foremost, they are losers yesterday, falling at Seattle. Not a great show. Not the start you were looking for, to be honest with you. We're just not sure who is not the start you're looking for from Bo Nix. It's not what you were looking for at all. They lose 26-20. Bo Nix did have a rushing touchdown, which was nice, but he had only 138 yards passing and 2 picks. And when your quarterback leads the rush with 5 carries for 35 yards, that's not good either. The defense did their part. Honestly, the defense tried very hard to win this game for Denver. They forced not 1, but 2 safeties out of Seattle, and they were able to keep him, right there within striking distance. They held a 13-9 lead at halftime. but Seattle took over in the second half. And first and foremost, you have to have the mentality. If you're going to play a rookie, or in case of college or high school, a younger quarterback, a freshman or something like that, you have to have the pieces around him. You just cannot let them try and do everything. You just can't do that. You have to be able to turn around, hand the ball off to Jaleel McLaughlin. Javonte Williams has to get more things going. Audric Estime has got to get more going. They need more out of their offensive line, which they spent tons of money on. They need more out of them and their running game to help Bo Nix. Bo Nix should not be throwing it 42 times. He should not be doing that. It should be in the 20s. Don't make a rookie quarterback in his first true NFL regular season start throw it 42 times. That is not that's not the recipe to win. I know Sean Payton's a passer of the football. I get it. That's not how you win football games. You have to be able to run the football, take the pressure off of your quarterback, and then allow him to be successful in the passing game. Too much was put on Bo Nix's shoulders in week 1, and unfortunately, he crumbled because of it. We talked about the Royals and the Rockies earlier in the show, trying to see if there's anything else that I missed. Oh, cannot forget today, speaking in local sports, it is the Goodland Cowgirl Golf Invitational out at Sugar Hills Golf Club. Many area teams will be attending that. We'll see if the Cowgirls can finish up, pick up where they left off, I should say, where they were just last week, winning down in Hugoton. We'll see if they continue that on their home course. One would think so, but you never know. So there you go. That's the only local event, really sporting event going on tonight, except, of course, for Monday Night Football tonight, where we talked about that with Nick Ath a little bit. Jets, Niners. Oh, that ought to be a good one. I'm super stoked to watch that game. That ought to be a really, really good football game. And I'm really intrigued to see what the Jets are all about. They have the pieces to be a contender in the AFC, and I mean possibly a Super Bowl contender in the AFC. Can they put it all together? Will be the biggest question mark tonight. Look forward to finding that out here this evening on Monday Night Football, our first one of this 2024 season.
A 3-run walk-off home run, a game-winning walk-off with a walk-off. His second walk-off hit of the season. In walk-off fashion, that baby's go.
Picks of the weekend for yours truly. It was a smorgasbord, to say the very least. Had Kansas State covering the 10 points at Tulane. That was a loss. K-State still won, but didn't cover. KU at Illinois had KU covering the 4.5 points. They end up losing that game. That was a loss. Nebraska took down Colorado by more than 7. There's a W for your boy. The Broncos at the Seahawks. Denver covers the 6 points, but still loses. That would be a push. It was right at the 6. And Michigan hosting Texas. As predicted, I said Texas would take care of Michigan pretty handily, and they did. UT covers easily the 7.5 on the road. So, like I said, a smorgasbord. 2, 2, and 1 this week. That brings the season total, the early season total, to 4, 5, and 1 on picks of the weekend. That'll do it for our program today. Thanks again to Nick Athen for joining us on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. Thanks to you for tuning in, no matter which way you did so, here on a Monday. We're back again tomorrow in 23 hours. We hope to talk to you then. It's been the Morning Blitz. Have a good one.
This is Rocket 102.5 KKCI, Goodland, Colby, Burlington.